Okay, today is April 10th, 2026. April 10th, 2026. Of course, today. I didn't do a video this morning, but I know my apartment's bugged. And then these people are doing it. They hacked into it. Okay. And I was going through different times how not funny this is. And people need to realize how not funny this is and how crazy these people are doing it. And then the retards that fall for it. Retards. For everything they do, I can put what is a jail sentence for it. And they're usually federal crimes. Get the idea? And they're just pulling a big, like they said, they're pulling a big con here. A big con. I want you to think about this. And then anybody stupid enough to put their name on this, where they said that back in 19, anybody stupid enough to put their name on the tapes before will end up in jail for them. That's stupid. The law is if an attorney sets up button cameras in your home, they are to be disbarred immediately. It is a felony evasion of privacy, voyeurism, listen, a sex offender, cyber stalking, and wiretapping. You have a right to privacy in your home. It's a it's a constitutional right. Even the FBI would go to jail for being in your home. So why would they be allowed? Outside a protected custody case with statements and a court order. So where May 30th, 25, 1 o'clock in the morning, the Louisville police found the case that their ex-husband hired two men on his own. One was saying he was an attorney, so it made it illegal. No, it didn't. It made it worse illegal. Very much so, because they know better. I talked to a real criminal attorney. He couldn't hire anybody on his own, and not even the FBI could be in my home outside a protected custody case with statements and a court order. You have a right to privacy. These people just can't go around setting up button cameras in people's homes, stalking them. Who the hell do they think they are? And what kind of retard would fall for it that they would be allowed? I have went over the laws and laws and laws that stop everything from happening. Like my friend that used to work at the Stark County Prosecutor's Office, Walter, he said it's a big fraud scheme, Karen. They did the biggest mistake. They did it in your home. They did another big mistake. They tried to put a dirty doctor name on it. Huh? There's HIPAA violations. These people are retards. And then retards falling for it. Retards. That people can just do these crimes. How stupid are you? You got the First Amendment, freedom of speech. Only a judge in a jury trial can take your freedom of speech away. It's the United States of America. We have a lot of rights. Police and agents and agents are only hire police officers. They don't have the authority to ask anybody to stay quiet. They're just police officers. Not demeaning anybody, but they're just police officers. It takes a judge during a jury trial. Only. You have a freedom of speech. It's a constitutional right. You also have the Fourth Amendment. The Fourth Amendment says the right of the people to be safe and secure within your own person. Nobody can touch you unless you want them to. It's assault. Your places, your homes, your papers, and effects against all unreasonable searches or seizures shall not be violated. Your home can't be violated, so why would they be allowed to violate mine? They're not. No searches, no seizures, but upon probable cause, warranted. You have to have a court order. Where's your court order? Dave hired these men on his own to run a drug scam on me. Warranted with the oath or affirmation of people, places, or things to be searched or seized. That's just for a search warrant. To actually be in your home. Because you have the Fifth Amendment and Sixth, the right to remain quiet. Not incriminate yourself. You also have a right to an attorney to represent you. With those three rights, police and agencies only under a threat of life with statements and a court order. And that's it. Not some gangster out there drug beating, raping people, you fucking morons. And photoshopping and washing in the shower. You also have the right, and it's the 7th or 8th Amendment, that only per documented injury, per set amount by an unbiased jury, awards, no judge is allowed to do it. So, think of that. Then the 14th Amendment, no money, no assets seized, but due process of law. You have to be found guilty and sued for it. Can't just steal from people. And it also says no, you cannot withhold any protection from any U.S. citizen in any jurisdiction. It's a federal crime. You also have something called HIPAA. It's a right to privacy over your medical records. Okay? If a doctor tapes you unaware, it's a HIPAA violation. It's 10 years because what you say to them is confidential and it's sworn to their license. And that what they treat you for, they can never say a word. Not a word. Without your consent, they cannot release your medical records without signed consent and picture ID and then to the place that they're sending it to. Otherwise, it's 10 years of stealing documents. We all know that. And you can sue them, and the fines are like $1 million and 10-year sentences. Do you know the law? If an attorney is fishing for information, goes to a hospital or a doctor, even tries to talk to them, and they're not representing you and personally in a dog bite or a car wreck, and they have your signed consent picture ID, that place don't call and verify it's you, have you sign and picture ID, they both lose their license, and it's 10 years. That's how well your medical records are protected. They are so protected, you cannot even break in a private home, steal someone's medical records, and try to use them against them. It's a federal crime of 10 years. Now, now think of their scam. The Louisville police, May 30th, 25, was talking to one of the ladies in the extortion group. They have to be playing her, because even Officer Reinhardt told me even the FBI would go to jail for being in your home outside that protected custody case with statements. It's illegal monitoring. It's wiretapping, cyber stalking, voyeurism. And it's all thrown out and can never be used. Like he said, it's illegal to even look and listen because of the right to privacy over a home. In an office. They can never be in it. They could never even look or listen. Talk to the Portage County Sheriffs. They said the same thing, too, and they didn't know anything about it. So did the prosecutor's office. So did a criminal attorney. So where are these people getting their twilight craziness? Because they're telling you they can do it. Like they said, these people are pulling off the biggest con here. I didn't know rapists were allowed to stalk people in their home. Then have them drug beat and raped under drugs. There were drug scams on them. They're not. They should have been arrested the first day. Where the Louisville police said they found the original case. Said her ex-husband hired 2 men on his own. One was saying he was an attorney, so they were saying it was legal. It's not illegal. It's not legal. It's worse illegal because they know better. And see, that's where I ever find out their last name. If they are an attorney, which I extremely doubt I'm going to call the Bar Association. They are going to ask them, were you ever in this person's home? Guess what? You just lost your license forever. And they're going to be calling the police and the FBI and want to know why they didn't arrest him. Okay, so we're going to put it that way. Now think of their scam. Stalking tapes, Dave hiring 2 men on his own. What was supposed to happen to Dave and those 2 men? They were to be arrested for setting up body cameras in my home, taping all of us in the bathroom, taping children using the bathroom and selling it. My God. Let's see, having their men hide in rooms, stabbing me with hypnotic drugs, takes effect in 45 seconds and you're sleepwalking. Drug you up until you say something stupid and have you beat and raped under drugs, and you haven't left your home. You never let anybody in, and you don't know what happened to you, and you're trying to make sense of it, thinking you're getting cancer from the dirty well water you've showered in, and you never see or talk to anybody. You think it's funny rapists doing this to people? Start thinking again. And then the HIPAA violations of a dirty doctor from before, working with one of them. They lied he was one of her doctors. Of course they lied. It's HIPAA. And then to find out it's just supposed to be Henry Moffey. That was telling people he was a doctor from before. And like he said, he never met me in person. I don't even know who this guy Pete is, and I have a feeling he's supposed to be it. Get the idea? Because April 16th, 23. Well, before that, on Christmas Eve of 22, I went to Danny and Jen, and people were all saying that they reported it. They did this, they did that. You know, they lied on everybody, so no one had talked to anyone. The separate and destroy. That's a stupid maneuver. Well, after November 18, 22, that weird guy, Eric, they talked about, came in and said, all the tapes before were me and not her. It was my idea to come up with it, my idea to do it, my idea to say it. For all these people to turn on her, and they fell for it. Well, if it was only you, I could take care of it. I know it's that bad, and they still fell for it. They said on Thanksgiving of 22, it was that guy, Eric. He was mocking everybody. Now, in 18, the first month, a little white man came up to me. For every idle word you tell on us, I'll turn on you. You try to leave Dave, I'll list you a child molester. I'm like, who are you? You know that bruise on your leg? I had a lemon-sized bruise. That stuck me in my sleep. Do you know how illegal that is? You know what you told me? You were wearing this one nightgown. You bent over and probably once I accidentally seen your butt and you had a life of pain because of it. Tried to leave Dave and he threatened me again. Right in front of the cops, in fact. I went home to a legally booked house. It's like, Dave, I didn't even wear this. I didn't even have this nightgown until last year. I know that. I just replaced everything last year for my birthday. I know that. All but some laces and that grandma nightgown I always wear when the kids are over. I said, remember years ago I was wearing that big grandma nightgown? I had underwear, a house coat on, and I bent over the TV stand. They only seen the back of my knees, and they made fun of the varicose veins on them. Of, oh, grandma, what's on the back of your legs? Varicose veins. Here, hold Papa while I get changed. We were video chatting. He said, I remember that. You were dressed like that. I said, that nightgown goes all the way down my knees. I know that. He drugged me up and told me to say that stupid lie. People after that, where he had bruises before, throwing up, infected. It wasn't the dirty well water. It was us. We were drugging you until you say this. We were drugging you until you say that. We were beating, raping you. It wasn't the dirty well water infecting you. It was us. Having you raped. Predator. The well water was orange. It took us a couple months to get a water treatment system, and we brought in bottled water to cook and drink. And I'm going to the doctor. My personal area is so swollen, it's pushed out, open, and down, and I'm screaming when I go to the bathroom. I thought the well water infected me. No, here I'm being raped under drugs. Huh? Got orange, lemon, grapefruit-sized bruises. I thought I got cancer from the dirty well water. And I'm telling the doctor that, and I'm losing all kinds of weight, and I never had anybody in my home. I'd take a shower, dry off, get in bed, and wake up like that. Times I'd wake up and I'd be fine in the morning, go outside and work, come in, wash my hands, make something to eat and drink, and I drink a lot of Diet Coke. make a glass, set it on the table, go in and use the bathroom, come out and take a drink. And the room went dizzy and black. And these people laughed at me in September last year in Walmart. She don't even remember being stuck with those drugs. They had them in syringes and they were stabbing her when she walked by in the hallway. Then I thought I got stung by a bee. Mm-mm, it was them. Never seen her talk to them. Predators. Where's that funny? It's not. You know, they did this to a U.S. Marshals kid twice. I met her at the storage unit in like April, May of 24. I was trying to find the right storage unit, and she was kind enough to help me. I said, well, it looks like you're moving out. She said, well, I found out my boyfriend of 8 years was cheating on me for the last 2. I was asleep one night, and he came home and punched me in the face, and while I was asleep and broke my nose, I called 911. They arrested him, and can you believe it or not, he got off with a big fine. And I got $10,000 worth of damage in my nose. And she said, I have found out since then he had been cheating on me for 2 years. He had just left a strip club, came home and started beating on me. And my dad's a U.S. Marshal, and I'm military. And she said, and he still got away with it, and I can't believe it. And she said, since then I went to Jersey's. She said, I ordered a drink, and I took one drink and the room went dizzy and black. She said, I don't even know what happened to me that whole night. She said, I waited a while. Went to another bar, same thing happened. I ended up in the hospital. Don't know how I got out of the bar. I said, you're sleepwalking with those drugs. She said, I know, and I'm moving out of this area for safety. My neighbor, Mike, I used to smoke cigarettes, and I didn't like smoking in my apartment. So I'd go outside to smoke. And I was waiting to finish my cigarette before I left. And he came up to me. He said, I got a problem. He said, I don't know how I got home. I'm like, go sleep it off. It's like 5:36 in the morning. He's like, you don't understand. I don't know I got home. And he kept saying it. I said, what do you remember the second beer? I'm like, go sleep it off. He's a big guy. He drinks beer all the time outside. And 2 beers shouldn't have done anything to him. And then he's like, he said, I don't even know how I got out of that bar. I got money in my pocket. I'm like, check your bank. He checked his bank. He took 100 out. He's like, well, that explains the money. But what was in the box with mustard? And how did I change my shoes? And then I realized somebody roofied him. Like where I didn't know anything that happened to me. And I said, you need to go sleep that off. He said, I used to be a New York cop and you're pretty. You want to go in and go cuddle? I looked at him, I said, go sleep that off. And I talked to him a while after that. I said, you know, you tried to tell me you were a New York cop. He started laughing. He said, I don't even remember talking to you. Okay. My coworker, Dar, she had a set of twins. One had died. She was grieving really hard over that baby. Her friends got a babysitter for the surviving baby. And took her out for a friend's night out. And she's sitting at a bar and she's crying. They're giving her space. She ordered a drink. She don't remember anything after the first drink. She said, I took a drink out of that drink, and that's all I remember. My friend said I acted a little bit happy, and then I went back to talking normal. She said they said a group of people came up they had never seen and were talking to me. And I left with them because I was talking and acting normal. They didn't think anything of it. She said, I found myself in a puddle of pee. Got myself home. I was throwing up. I was dizzy. I was really messed up for a day. She said, 2 months later, I found out I was pregnant again. I'm arguing with the doctor. I haven't been with anybody. How could I be pregnant? She said, you know, it's not that I don't love my son, but I don't know what happened to me that night. Okay. Carl's daughter, Audrey, we were talking about those kind of drugs. She said that her and her husband, Gary, had watched like a news documentary on those drugs. Okay. That how you're sleepwalking under someone else's control. She said, I seen we both seen that documentary on hypnotic drugs, that cartels load up syringes and they go to big raves, big parties. They walk around, okay, until they find who they want and they just jab them with it. It works in like 45 seconds. And then you're sleepwalking, that way they don't scream or fight them when they leave. And they wanted to prove how much they can control people with. They had a willing person let them do it to them. They drugged him. They waited a little bit and told him to go into their bank, empty his whole checking account, bring it out and give it to him. He did. They said they were taping his reactions. And because they knew he was drugged, he was a hair off in response, just a hair. Because we knew he was drugged, we could tell. But a normal person wouldn't have picked it up. It's that bad. And when it wore off, he was back in that chair where they drugged him. And he said, well, what happened? They handed him his money from his checking account. They're that bad. Hypnotic drugs. Now, it's not like nobody's ever heard the word stoned. And it's not like nobody knew any kind of other drugs like LSD, acid, any kind of drug that induces people walk around hallucinating. And you're wide awake. Well, they also have hypnotic drugs that put you in a state of sleepwalking. They shut down your mind. You're wide awake under someone else's control. And how dangerous they are. That you can cook, eat, drink, drive a car, have sex with someone. It's like the perfect date rape drug. And you'll have no memory. Ever. And it leaves a metal taste in your mouth. And it makes you nauseous when it wears off. Get the idea? That's how not funny it is. Okay. Christmas Eve of 22, I had went over to Danny and John's because people are mocking me that they, March 1st to 3rd of 21, that they had put 2 clips together, put her in a porn. It's not her, it's them. And in January 19, they said they photoshopped a feminine wipey above the toilet in the other room to make it look weird. Well, that would just erase the wipey and put you in another room. That would. Photoshopped. Okay? But in 21, they were telling people they put 2 clips together, put her in a porn. It's not her, it's them. Don't worry about her. Okay? Then later on, people were saying stuff that never happened, made my stomach bleed. It's like, you did what else to me? And then I thought, well, they're playing me. What would you be doing? It sounds like you, because they said, okay, March 13, 21, they told the nurse at Mercy Medical, or the doctor there, is a lady, okay? She was telling some lady that came in and was talking how no man was ever to touch me and da-da-da-da-da-da-da. And then they came in and they were talking. Said, the only thing they got on you is simply adjusting yourself. The guy said, that's sick. Said, no, it's funny. She simply wiped off water with clothes on. He said, that's sick. He said, no, it's funny. She simply brushed it off. That's all they had. They didn't have anything else. It's actually funny. She just simply brushed it off. Now, a simple action of wiping something off with clothes on. That's all they had. That's nothing. People spill stuff on themselves all the time. You just wipe something off and you can touch any part of your body with clothes on. It's not wrong. See, that's where simply brushing off something with clothes on. That's all they had. Nothing else. Okay? Dear God, I was in McDonald's in 19. Some guy was using a ton of salt on his fries, got it all over his pants, stood up, brushed the salt off everywhere, the chair, and then sat back down and ate. Nobody thought anything of it. Just think of bathing suits, gymnastics, swim meets, shorts, people, guys. Oh my God. People with wedgies, everybody adjusts themselves. Nobody thinks anything of it. And simply brushing something off with clothes on, nobody thinks anything of that. But then what did they say in 21? They put two clips together, put her in porn, it's not her sound. Then after March 13, 21, they said, you touch yourself, you expose yourself, you touch yourself, look weird. That's not brushing water off with clothes on. That's what made my stomach sick. And I thought, well, what would you be doing? If you touch yourself, you expose yourself, you're undressing. You touch yourself, look weird, but not weird. What are you doing? Well, you could be putting yeast infection cream on. Or did you get undressed and you got in the shower and you're washing yourself? Sounds like washing. And I went outside to smoke. They were laughing. She figured out what they did. May 12th, 22 at noon, they found a tape of them emitting a shower scene in the other room. May 26th, 22 at noon, the attorney ordered that shower scene to be photoshopped of washing yourself in the other room to make you look weird on purpose. In February and March of 22 in Navarre, next door neighbor, they were saying that Pete had, they told them that Pete ordered everything drugged and photoshopped on me on purpose. Not to say anything to me. He ordered it. Okay? Let's see. Then they were just mocking me like crazy. Drugs and told us that from the beginning of the case. In 18, they even said they photoshopped all their lies, erased some guy named Chris out of the room. It's a big scam, okay? We had bruises before, throwing up and infected. It was us drug beating, raping you. Wasn't the dirty well water. We had drugged you and told you to say this. We had drugged you and told you to say that. I used to run and vomit. I didn't see anybody. I didn't even have my neighbors in my home. And where did you think rapists were funny doing this to people in their homes? All right, that's where I go to Danny and John on Christmas Eve of 22. Well, we'll even go May 25th, 21, 6 p.m. of the church people breaking in before drugging or tellers say weird or molester stuff. That's not funny. 8, 9, 21, the apartment building forming second close to the fence on North Chapel in Louisville. Lady and little girls live there. They were talking about me being drugged and told to say it before. And 4 or 5 neighbors did a police report. Those little girls also, Melissa, my ex-daughter-in-law, that was involved in this, in the scam. Her kids told her that they made everything up and they were games of pretend, just like Flora on Thanksgiving of 18, that they were lying about everything. Okay. All right. Then December 9, 21, 4 p.m. at a Oakland apartment on Cleveland Avenue. They told him all the tapes before were them and not me. It's just a bunch of men doing crimes here to see if someone will stop him. Same day, white man bald with dark eyes distributing food at the Stark County Hunger Task Force, which was one of my guards during the case, came out and said we always knew the tapes before were them and not her, so we never said a word. January 19, 22, 11 o'clock in the morning, they told the Department of Disability I was drugged and told to say it before. February 2nd, 22, Burlington Coat Factory. They told them, some Latino man said that he drugged me first and told me to say it. Investigator from Ravenna was down there following me around. Said, I seen her out today. I found out that bastard really did drug her and tell her to say it before. March 24th, 22, 1:30, they admitted to framing me. Okay, and then it's just an onslaught of drugs and told to say it, photoshopped of washing in the shower, and mocking me every time they see me. It was horrifying. This big drug scam they ran on me. Okay. Um, all right, so Christmas Eve of 22, I go to Danny and Jen. I said, did you know we're on the sixth day we were up there? We had went out that day, came home, and the doors kicked into the wall. Literally kicked in the wall. Talk about breaking and entering. And they said, I remember that. And I said, remember, Dave said not to report another realtor passed out case. I remember that. I said, did you know about batting cameras? No. They looked shocked. I said, did you know they were taping in the bathroom? No. Did you know that they are supposed to have taped me washing myself in the shower? And they're supposed to Photoshop that in the other room to make me look weird with myself? No. I said, do you remember the orange, lemon, and grapefruit size bruises all over me? Remember that. And I said I almost passed out outside in front of the neighbor by the second weekend. It kept happening. And they said, I remember that. I said, they were everywhere, the bruises. I remember that. I said, I kept going to the doctor. Was losing weight, throwing up. Those giant bruises, yeah. I said, did you know they're breaking in stores? They were drugging me and telling me to say weirdo molester stuff. And they were beating on me, and that's what was causing all that bruises? No. Jen's like, I never thought of someone getting in there hurting you, Karen. She said, I thought you were working too hard and bruising too easy. I didn't think about it. Kids came out of the room, hugged me. Grandma's out. What's going on? We didn't know. I kept going back over there. My one grandson is grown. He had his girlfriend there, Shay. She said, Karen, it's scary the thought somebody was watching you live your life. And let alone break in and they were harming you. And I said, well, you're sleepwalking with those drugs. She said, I know that. And the thought that people were getting in there and drugging you and beating on you. I said, what's scary is I never seen her talk to anybody. She said, Karen, this is scary. I said, I know it is. And I don't even know who did it. And I said, what's awful is where they keep laughing at me. They photoshopped a shower scene of washing yourself in another room. And that they were taping in the bathroom. They taped everybody. Jen looked over at me and went, well, I hope I was gassy. I said, you don't realize everyone used that bathroom. And I looked at the kids. She's like, great. Where they laughed at me, they sold kiddie porn and my grandkids going potty. I kept going over and talking to him. April 16th, 23. Jen's mom had died. They had a memorial service for her. Afterwards, I walk out to my car. I look up. Danny and Jen are walking up to Gabe and Shay. He said, I finally went to Dad. Ask him what on earth is going on. See, they didn't know. He said he had hired some guy named Pete on his own. It was Pete and his men in her home before. Pete has her frame. Pete has her tape, the filthy, dirty statement. I've never met him. The black and blue marks. I like that little old white man. Said he was drugging me up and telling me to say wrong nightgown. They're supposed to drug me up and told me to say filthy stuff. These people are horrifying. And August 4th of 25, they admitted that they used the hypnotic drugs on me. Okay? And that's why she had a metal taste in her mouth and she has no memory of those people. August 5th, 25, Dutch Valley Restaurant. They were in there. And the people were saying as if Agent John didn't know. They used hypnotic drugs on her when they drugged her and told her to say it before, and she has no memory of those people. That's why she had a metal taste in her mouth. He was telling people he knew she was being drugged, beaten, raped before the case started, and he said he didn't care. He even let him torture her as he's some kind of coward. August 7th, 25. Walmart 62 still have it. Investigators come in. We got him taped again, admitting to drugging her and tell her say it before, even using hypnotic drugs, and she would have no memory of it, and now calling Agent John a coward. June 7th, 23. Lighthouse was in Walmart 62. FBI Agent John fell for the stunt I tasted before. Oh, come on now, it was only a stunt. You're kidding. You mean FBI Agent John fell for the stunt I tasted before? Ha 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 ha. Kept mocking him and mocking him. Sheriffs have him taped, mocking him. August 31st of 25, Macy's upstairs in Summit Mall. Guy's on the phone. He said it is documented and verified they used hypnotic drugs on her when they drugged her and told her to say it before. She has no memory of these people from those drugs, and that's why she had a metal taste in her mouth. No one's allowed to say a word. Went downstairs, and some lady said, "Do you realize what we look like to her with her having no memory of those people? You look insane." I thought the well water was giving me cancer from showering in it because it was orange. How would you like rapists playing with you? He had never met or talked to. March 24th, 22, 1:30, they admitted a framing me. August of 23, Officer Mark told the lady it's documented and verified she was framed before, and it was a drug cartel in her home before they seen him. It's documented and verified it was a medication error that made her sick before, and another woman was even using her insurance. And none of this is funny. November 23rd, 25, Macy's downstairs in Summit Mall. Some girls out there. And they said this whole thing was a scam to extort money from the government. Her ex-husband was already connected to us, so we asked him if we could run a scam on her to extort money from the government. He said yes, if we made sure that he got everything in the divorce. December 1st, 25. Now, March 27th, 25, after midnight, an agent is outside my work, and I can hear him talking that there's a couple Michelles involved in this, okay? There's a real pretty Michelle, Carl Sainer, long blonde hair. He was dating her on a rouge, and he got it out of her that the doctor from before was not one of mine, works for them, and they had lied. He was one of my doctors. Of course, they lied to SIPO. Dave told Danny it was just some guy named Pete he hired on his own, not a doctor. Just some guy he hired. Investigators have called him a serial rapist and a drug dealer and drug cartel. Get the idea? All right. March 27, 25, he had got it out of that pretty Michelle that the doctor from before was not one of mine, works for them, and they had lied. He was one of my doctors. She doesn't know who he is. And when they bashed in my head, they tried to kill me or leave me incompetent, and it didn't work. And as soon as she told me, I broke up with her. He had also got it out of my ex-husband that a girlfriend from before me made him marry me so that they could, she could use my insurance and he could give her extra money. Okay? The lady using my insurance, half my medical bills, or some other ladies. It's not random. It was another girlfriend of Dave's. He also got it out of that family that was running around telling everybody it offended him that Strange called her a faker years ago. Why would you say that? It was 6 months later and she had nothing to do with that traffic accident. Said it didn't even concern them. They lied about everything so people would help out. Okay. April 17th, 25. She's gas station car scene, that pretty Michelle, she was having a meltdown in Sheets parking lot in Hartville, the big government SUV stop. As she walks up to a grayish blue SUV and said, I talked to the police up there. They said, how stupid was I? Telling that guy that the doctor from before wasn't one of hers, works for him, works for them, and they had lied he was one of her doctors. She actually don't know who he is. And when they bashed in her head, they tried to kill her, leave her incompetent. As soon as I told that guy, he broke up with me. And I really liked him. And I wanted to get married. And she's having this meltdown. Okay? April 24th, 25. Up in Summit Mall. The Texas group is up there. And other people. Some people are laughing because Michelle told on them. The other ones are mad. This one guy said, you tell that guy Will that was to pull off a scam here? To join us? Tell him it's all ruined because that Michelle told on him that the doctor from before was not one of hers, works for them, and they had lied. And she doesn't know who he is. You tell him we said take care of it. And then they start threatening to kill that girl. She went badass on him. I am so proud of her. May 26, 25. Well, May 25th, 25 in Hollister's in Summit Mall. Teenagers were laughing like this is funny. Boy, did Bill from the Freemason run the biggest scam here. He had some guy go in and drug her up and tell her to say that. Can you imagine doing that? Then he had somebody tape her in the shower, washing herself, and photoshopped that in the other room and ran the biggest scam off of it. May 26, 25. Walmart 62 is still having it. Cartel follows me in. We heard they were making fun of Bill from the Freemasons' big scam in Summit Mall. The cartel's tired of Bill. We all are. Of the dirty doctor not being one of hers, works for them, and they had lied he was one of her doctors. And the whole thing is a scam. Okay. May 26th, or May 30th, 25. Louisville police are outside with one of the ladies from the extortion group, bragging how she thought she was going to trick me out of a bunch of money. And she found out I knew surveillance laws. And said the investigators found May 26, 25 at Walmart 62 of this whole thing being a scam from Bill from the Freemason. Officer gets out of his vehicle, said, Bill from the Freemasons, she mentioned him. Whole thing's a scam, including the dirty doctor not being one of hers, works for them, and they had lied. The whole thing's a scam? Yeah. And then they go on about it, okay? Then they said they found the original case. Her ex-husband hired two men on his own. One was saying it was an attorney, so it made it legal. No, it didn't. It made it worse illegal. Because it's right on Google. If an attorney sets up button cameras in your home, they are to be disbarred and criminally charged with illegal monitoring, felony invasion of privacy, cyber stalking, voyeurism. You can go into wiretapping. If they try to get money out of it, it's sextortion. You want to play? Like 20 years federal, people or more, without the drugs and the kiddie porn of my grandkids going potty. And them have me beat and raped. Okay. Let's see. December 1st, 25. Walmart 62 still has it. Oh, and I sort of sent that. And the phone number, where to get the tape. By the way. To the White House and to FBI Internal Affairs. An investigator showed up after the November 23rd, 25 of them admitting this whole thing was to extort money from the government. Said that Michelle showed up in their office, said these people admitted this whole thing was a scam to extort money from the government. Her ex-husband was involved. They all were. On a con of the government. Pull a fast one on the FBI. Okay? Said that the doctor from before was not one of hers. Worse for them, and they had lied. He was one of her doctors. She actually don't know who he is. And that guy Pete that's running his mouth about her, he's just some guy Dave hired on his own too, and she don't even know who he is. And these people admitted to using hypnotic drugs on her and drugged her and told her to say it before. She has no memory of those people. And the tape of Weird with Yourself is nothing but photoshopped a washing in the shower. The whole thing is nothing but a scam to extort money from the government. July 24th, 25. It's Saturday the 25th, about 8:30 in the morning. There's a biker outside Bob Evans. He's been following me around since 18. Okay? He said, and he had his helmet on. He said, I know she don't know who I am. This way I can keep an eye on her. He said, I forgot how big Karen was at the beginning of the case. Okay? He said, I did a body ratio of the tape of Weird with Yourself. He said, it is some lady washing herself. It is a shower scene. But it wasn't even Karen. They put her head on some other lady's body washing herself. July 26, 25. I'm in Bob Evans again because I used to meet Carl there for coffee or breakfast. Some idiots come in for that bill from the Freemasons big scam and dare says a word to me. I start going off and I'm talking to one of the waitresses and I really go off. Okay? How on Thanksgiving of 18, my son John's kids got saying they made everything up. And when I asked my son John about it, he didn't know about anything. That he had told his ex-wife, Melissa, we were going through a divorce and moving out. And that she'd have the kids make up something and the church people, but don't worry about it. Nobody could say anything bad about you, Mom. Says it several times. And a year later, she pulls a stunt of sneaking in his house, hiding, and when he comes out of the bathroom, lunges at him, screaming, startles him, and he shoved her. She had him arrested for domestic violence. That's not domestic violence. He lost his kids for a year, and then he called me up and asked me to be a reliable name on a court record to watch his kids. And I was working 2 jobs. I didn't get off the first one, let alone the second one. And I was barely making it, and I couldn't help him. I said, I won't be able to afford my apartment. Mom, if you don't help me, I'll lose my kids forever. I said, John, I'll lose my apartment. I barely make it now. And he's pleading me, but Mom, these are my kids. I said, John, I barely make it now. I'm sorry, I can't help you. And he's pleading. I need you to be that reliable name to pick him up from school. I said, I'm sorry, I can't help you. He lost his kids. He moved to Florida years ago. Got remarried, started his own church. He looks very happy. Okay, so we're July 26, 25. I went over to Walmart 62. An investigator from 18 came in. I told that couple never to say a word to her ever again. I interviewed John years ago. 18. He said nothing bad ever happened to him. And all her kids were speaking highly of her. June 7th, 25. Outside my apartment, my car is blocked. The investigators went to Dr. Haven's office on Frank Road. He verified that he had been the kids' doctor from 1984 to 2002, 18 years. And he had seen him several times a year for 18 years. And that there was never any abuse. They were no sign of no neglect, and they were very well taken care of, or he would have reported it. That's medical proof that nobody ever got hurt. Not roofing somebody and saying, I'm going to have somebody say I'm part of a roofie. You know, in January of 26, and so up in Fairlawn, and the lady investigator said those church people need to realize how dumb they look. Saying that they had somebody drug her and tell her say it before, and oh, somebody will verify it. And then there's no crime committed. You can't just drug somebody and tell them to say something, somebody saying they're part of the drugging, and then there's no crime committed. You have to have proof of injury, like physical proof of being seen in a hospital, pictures of it, treatment for it, physical evidence the person did it, and then police investigation and prosecution. You don't have all that, you don't have nothing. See, I had a dog bite, I know. Like they said, all these people are saying this. They drugged her and told her to say it before. They were willing to have somebody verify it, that they were part of it. Go to jail for that. And he wasn't part of it. These people were supposed to be Danny and Jen reporting the tape of Weird with Yourself. They didn't even know about it. Won't have nothing to do with it. John defended me. He had nothing to do with it. He wasn't having his mother drugged, beaten, raped for Dave and his drug addict 18-year-old girlfriend to run a scam thinking they could scam the FBI out of money. Pull a fast one. September 30th, 25, 1:30 in the morning. A biker brought Michelle Dave was dating Mary's niece, where Anita and Pam were talking. Mary's niece, Michelle, for the opportunity to date someone like Dave, she was willing to kill someone. And Dave was excited. He never had anybody willing to kill someone just to date him. That poor family is in debt and needs Dave's help. They talked about a poor family being in debt the whole case. It's Katie's family. Her mom's Mary. It's her niece Michelle. Anita's her aunt. Got it? I said, September 30th, 25, 1:30 in the morning, I hear a biker revving his engine. Brought the Michelle Dave was dating out. Said the guys running it said no one's allowed to say a word to her again in life. They found out this whole thing is your family's debt to drug dealers. Is that what's going on? Yes. Does she even know who you are? No, I don't want her to know. If I knock on that door, she answers it. Will she know who you are? I don't want her to know who I am. She don't even know you. You have her raped and tortured or skull bashed in because you were in debt to drug dealers? Yes, I'm sorry. I listened to her friend Matt on January 13th, 23, of the Ohio drug dealers were threatening that agent's life for thinking that he let all those people be human trafficked. And was your family letting it happen? Yes. Your family even human trafficked people to pay back those drug dealers? Yes, I'm sorry. She sold little kids to be murdered, and she's sorry. Said, I found out it was your family that incited her new husband's family to threaten his life to steal that farm from him. Well, I really wanted it. I liked that land. I wanted that farm. I really liked it. Really think she's God, don't you? Listen to September of 23. The original cartel had already confessed that they photoshopped everything and made fun of the FBI for falling for it. Did you know that? Yes. They already confronted her ex-husband that if he knew it was a medication error, medical malpractice, and fraud, and if they encouraged them to sue those doctors for years. Did you know that? Yes. January 1926, right when the case first started, the first month, I got a weird text message through Instagram. This one guy said, I think you're beautiful. It's like, thanks. He said something about Loveland Beach. I don't know. I would go out to stores, people talk about him. Then I seen him drive by with people that said they were from Florida and they were working for Judge Peters and drug cartel. Okay. And I don't know him from Adam. And then people said he was leaving insults on me. I don't even know him. Okay. January 1926, Carl and I are joking around in the car. To MC Hammer, you can't touch this. Okay. We go in Bob Evans' car, goes to the bathroom. There's two men sitting there. One looks like that picture of Henry Muffy, but a lot thinner. And he said, I'm the one that got a hold of her online. I thought, you look like that picture. He said, I'm the one that sent those messages. I proved she was cheating to her ex. I said, that's not cheating. That's you being weird. I never met you. And he said, I tell all men she's not good enough for another man. And he said, I'm glad I never met her in person. I thought, buddy, you wouldn't have got a pity date. He said, I'm the one that told her new husband's family that I'd steal that farm and everything for them. Found out his son was down there vandalizing stuff on the farm. Told him stay out of it. I'll steal everything for them. So what did that girl say? It's her family, so that's her dad. Okay, so he said, I heard the other Michelle's telling on us for what we're actually doing. Yeah, thank you for confession. He said, I got a judge's friend that'll enter everything in court while the FBI is busy with Minnesota. I'll have them sign everything over to me, and I'll be long gone and steal all the case's money. Pull a fast one on them. And before they even know what happened, I thought, over my dead body. I wrote the FBI Internal Affairs. I wrote the President of the United States. This whole thing is just a scam. You got to think they were breaking in and they were stabbing me with hypnotic drugs. They laughed at me in September of 25 in Walmart 62 as I walked by rooms. They just reach out and jab me. Then I remember thinking I banged my leg or my arm or got stung by a bee. And I never seen her talk to anybody. It works in 45 seconds. The drugs then told us that. No memory of people raping me and beating me. People have even showed up and said when that Pete went over her and did that to her, sometimes they thought he was going to beat her to death. A monster from hell. Preying on somebody you never met. There's people find this funny. It's not. Photoshopped washing in the shower in another room, and then my body, I had on somebody else's body in a drug scam and drugged up and told to say horrible stuff by people you've never met. Yesterday, I was at my community health. My phone is tapped by the police and the FBI. Officer Marker, John, you need to listen to the phone taps. It's not funny. Where these people bragged that they are trying to find somebody dumb enough to give them my medical records and trick them into giving it to them. I have heard around Altman and that they're impersonating the FBI with a quarter or trying to get my medical records. The stupid nurse was talking about how the FBI is running around making fun of me. It's not the FBI. And that doctor has a real bad attitude, but they are running around saying they're FBI bad mouthing me. You need to have a talk who's been in there and in Altman Hospital impersonating federal agents, trying to get medical records. They were in there saying, they found out that they wrote up those doctors from before as a bunch of crackpots. Heard them outside the room. I know they did. And the reason why she couldn't walk where she had all those surgeries, they even did back surgery on her. She had a big 5-inch cut. And that's what took her so long to learn to walk again. Duh. Put all that massive swelling on all those injuries, yeah. Duh. And I mean, and then that guy saying something about some doctor there watches me has no right. Do you know on Google, there was actually some mental counselor went crazy on a former patient and started stalking him. He's in jail for 9 years. I don't have a psychiatrist, and I don't think it's funny they made up a scenario of a psychiatrist for a sexual disorder. One of your brother never happened. I don't have a psychiatrist, and I never seen one for a sexual disorder. That's disgusting. And Dave said it wasn't even a doctor. It was just some guy named Pete he hired on his own. We're on this drug scam. All right. But Officer Mark, if you go in there, or Officer John, you need to find out. I'm ready to go write the state and start pulling medical license. These are 10-year sentences for them talking about me. Now, that real FBI and the real police, they already told them in 18 it was medical malpractice and medication errors. The FBI can see your medical records. They can. See, they wouldn't be showing up with a court order. Like up in Portage County, Bruce Lewinsky said they're scammers with fake court orders, fake arrest warrants. They're scammers, and they're impersonating him, officers, and federal agents. These people are nothing but scammers. And they're trying to trick somebody into giving my medical records. They were talking about it on Magnolia. And that stupid nurse, the FBI said they were making fun of her because she said she had drug dealers after her. Well, 3,000 people seen them at the family church. Church Peter's group admitting they were the ones doing it to me and doing it to me before. Drug cartel from Florida. The Kingsman from Texas. I had 2 Kingsmen on April 1st, 25 in Dollar Tree on West Tusk following me. Been following me for years. They were talking about selling me. That's how not funny this is. And about them buying me and all this other stuff and the king doing it. It's not funny. I've met other families that lost people to these people that they took and they never got back. That's how not funny this is. I was raped, tortured, human trafficked, skull bashed in, drugged till I lost 70 pounds and my stomach shifted under my ribs. I had a chicken wing shoulder. I have a damaged rib cage. They beat me in my intestines, my stomach, until they almost ruptured them. I have large pouching. They could have ruptured my intestines from being beat so bad. Where did you think monsters from hell are funny doing this? And the only thing they're trying to do is pull a fast one on the FBI. Because you gotta think, they were drugging me up and beating and raping me in my home. Why did they just take me out and kill me? Make it look like a home invasion. Because they needed to scare me into calling the FBI. So they could try to steal the case's money, that's why. Trying to extort money from the government. Thinking that the FBI is a bunch of dumbbutts. You know, Dr. Karp did my face surgery. He didn't do it right years ago. Right here, I had surgery. Remember? And I went back in afterwards. And, I mean, it's not real noticeable. It's just, it's like numb right there. And I went back in. Well, I had a mini facelift because I lost all that weight. I had my skin tightened up. And he could have pulled a little tighter. I'd even looked 100% better. And he didn't. And I went in, his nurse was snotty. Well, how are you? I said, not real good. My ex-husband tried to have me killed, and he had these people run this drug scam. of the Photoshop to washing, and then telling her about the orange well water, and I never seen and talked to anybody. I thought it was making me sick and waking up with bruises infected, and how they've admitted they were drugging me up and telling me to say weird and Western stuff. And I never seen or talked to anybody, and I've reported this to the police. And do you know how illegal it is to talk to somebody under drugs and to drug somebody and talk to them? That it's like a 20-year sentence. And I said, and where these people have laughed at me in stores in front of even investigators, they had drugged me and told me to say this, that, whoever drugged me up, the next would get the same crazy crap. Oh, and I said, I never seen her talk to anybody. You know how horrifying this is? Her eyes got great big. She walked out. Doctor came in, did the injections. Took me a minute to shake it off, get myself focused. Walked out. His back is to me. He's on the phone. He said, you tell those people I'm not interested in this. I didn't think about it when I was doing surgery and she was still under the anesthetic and they had me question her. Well, she is still drugged. And taper, I'm not interested in this. I didn't realize how big a crime I did. I thought life in federal, idiot. My phone's bugged. That was 23, what, March or April? I could find the right day. My phone's bugged. Tapped by the police. Recorded them. You know, I went out to Dr. Rapika's office last year, where I went through that thing with how John defended me and his kids got taped saying they made everything up. They were games of pretend, and they're documenting me games of pretend. Okay? Maslin Police told Mount Carmel, Illinois, June 23rd to July 4th of 21. Starr County Sheriff's made fun of some guy named Kurt Mayer, 21, if he just found out those kids are lying slow. Like January 12th, 22, Officer John, one of those kids get taped stating they made everything up. That kind of shit, okay? They're documenting me jokes. And how John defended me and all this other stuff. We pull in Katanas June 13th, 14th of 25. People get out if John's been in Florida for years. Who is that riding around asking them to help harm her? My kid would never ask anybody to help harm me. He was not part of this. That night, one of those nights, either the 13th or 14th, some guys outside of John's been in Florida for years. Who have I been talking to? Said they had somebody impersonate him. None of this is funny. He is in Florida. Well, I was out at Rapika's office last year. Some idiots out there stalking me. They have no right showing up at my work, my doctor's office, and stalking me. People trying to pull a scam. Was telling them, well, John verified it for Will. No, he didn't. And since he verified it with Will, we have an agreement with law enforcement that no one will ever be able to help her again in her life. And we won't say anything. I thought, say something, bitch. And it wasn't John. I dare you, I find out your name. You wait. If you are an attorney, you won't be the same day. Because I'll be getting a hold of the Bar Association. Then I'm going to be suing the hell out of you. You'll be lucky if the news crews aren't on your doorstep. See what I mean? Then those idiots saying stuff at my community health. These people are impersonating the FBI, trying to get their case thrown out against the drug dealers. They already announced in 22 this whole thing. They set up Agent John to be arrested. They said they were going to get the case thrown out. They started in January 19. They were looking for loopholes. They told them they were coming for him in 23, 24. They were going to get this case thrown out because he told on me for calling the FBI hotline before he talked to me, admitted on a recorded line that he everybody already knew. He bullied me into false statements under threats of arrest, made me beg for my life, listed me in form of money and immunity, then tried to blackmail me into staying quiet. He didn't have authority to ask anybody to stay quiet, and they left her there and took her money. He was defrauding her the whole time. Can't use fraud. He had no legal right around her. Like these people have no legal right around me. And he either stands up for that case or gets thrown out. And we want every drug dealer arrested that showed up and helped out released, and then they're going to sue for false arrest under fraud for millions and a distorted amount of money from the government for false arrest under fraud. For some reason, they think Agent John would rather go to jail than stand up for his own case. And the government still owes me all that money. Because every FBI case, every informant, the witness protection program, you get money immunity for life for getting them information, only getting them information. It's a federal crime for an FBI agent to tell a victim or informant they can't say anything. It's considered blackmail, extortion out of government funds, a crime against the U.S. government because you're stealing government funds. And is tampering with a witness and tampering with evidence. It is also considered blackmail if they tell you can't say anything, that no one will help you. And then it's tampering with a witness, obstruction to justice. And they don't have the authority. It takes a judge. Just like they can't bully you into false statements, he can't withhold my money, he can't misdirect it. They still owe me that money. And for some reason, they think he'd rather go to jail and let thousands of serial killers out. It's interesting. It's actually disgusting and it makes my stomach hurt. If it wasn't for Karen around the house, Karen's will. Where my little threat and attempted lie case led into all those big drug dealers' arrests. That even led into one of them dealing with Trekasami, smuggling oil, and I got enough information. They called down there and they said they'd investigate, and Trekasami got arrested, a world terrorist. George Peters out of Florida, Kingsman from Texas, Buffalo, New York, Michigan, California. Thousands. U.S. Marshals case got 800 in one swoop. Like they said, March 17th, 26, in Carrollton McDonald's, guy said, I had someone look her up. Her original case was only a threat and attempted lie case to find out who was behind it, and it did lead into a lot of big drug dealers' arrests. No one's allowed to say a word to her. They found out some guy named Will is selling the lock into the case. And other people have this since 1800. For Will selling the lock in for $25 a pop, and went viral. They have it in different states. I'm going to upload this.